Something great is coming to Call of the Wild on Tuesday, or so says the post in the Call of the Wild news section of the Hunter official Discord, and I can also say I was fortunate enough to get the kind of inside scoop on things, and according to JaxyBeard, the upcoming content can be found on either Aurora or Hirschfelden, so I'm really excited to check that one out. As we talked about the last time we were out here on Rancho, they've been really emphasizing, and you can see it even in that post, the word great is in all caps. I have to think they're leaning towards another great one, and we'll talk about this upcoming content all throughout this video. We are going to continue our Great One grind here on Rancho. If there is something coming, and it is that soon, I really want to push to see if we can somehow get this grind done. So we're going to head off. We're, I think, going to start down in this area, and we'll see what we can manage by the end of this hunt. If there was a specific medal for the opposite of a great one, that guy would probably have it. 64 to 105 level 1 whitetail, but it is a buck, and it will allow us to get a respawn. So we'll go ahead and take that guy, and we can kind of start to go through some of the things that are coming to Call of the Wild. And if we read the post that I mentioned in the Call of the Wild news section of the Discord, a couple of things they mentioned are obviously the content update that evidently is going to be on Tuesday. I mean, they specifically say the moment many of you have been waiting for is also arriving next Tuesday, so I have to think the update itself should be coming on that day. They also mention hints, which there has been no update to the game in quite some time, so there must be hints getting added to the game with that update, and I'm not sure what that would be going towards, but it's always exciting to see hints in the game, have the community kind of come together, not only to find such hints, but then to really kind of try to understand what the hints mean and where they are pointing towards. So that's going to be something to look forward to as well. And then there's just, in general, I guess some community plans for November. They mentioned towards the end there's some big community competitions, so that might be something that we want to definitely check into as well. So a lot of stuff is obviously going on, but the big thing, of course, again, they keep emphasizing great, and we've been told a little bit Hirschfelden and Aurora, so something to do with all that. I'm really excited for next week. And actually, another pretty major thing I think coming with this update is the Apex Connect. They mentioned in that post as well it is coming to Call of the Wild, and there's a bunch of stuff listed there that it is going to help with, but a big one for me is the player reporting, and there's some other stuff there, multiplayer invites, friends lists, news updates, all that kind of stuff that you could kind of expect with something like this. But the player reporting, I think, for Call of the Wild is probably something that is needed. Unfortunately, there is a pretty high volume, I would say, of like modding and hacking going on in multiplayer, and some of you guys may have noticed I've started to do less and less multiplayer content over the last couple of months, and that is one of the reasons why. Sometimes it can be difficult to tell on a server if you're getting really lucky, or if you're on a server that has kind of increased odds of diamonds or rares or stuff like that spawning. So if player reporting could help with that sort of thing specifically, I think that might really help to kind of clean up the multiplayer aspect of the community. So I'm really looking forward to that and the other things that Apex Connect has to offer. If you want to read all that, the post is in the Call of the Wild news section of the Hunter official Discord. I'll mention that once again. And also, as we're running over here, they mentioned in here as well, the content update is going to be released on Tuesday across PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam. So what that says to me is a simultaneous release, which we haven't had in Call of the Wild in quite some time. So if you're a console player, this may be, you know, feeling like there's a chance to be left out with this. They've said that it's going to be released on the same day. I think that's really big. I think the community needs that, and hopefully you guys are as excited to get it at the same time as everyone else as I am. I really feel like it hurt with Rancho for not everyone to be able to play the game when the map came out. So the fact that that's going to be a part of this as well is really encouraging. I think as far as the post goes, that pretty well covers it for the information we have. And as I said, I was fortunate enough to kind of get that extra bit of information regarding Aurora and Hirschfelden, and it's hard to say exactly what that means. We just kind of have those two maps, and I would say the general idea that they've been hinting at great ones. So does that mean we're going to get a great one that would be on those two maps. Hints is listed in there as well. I don't know if that has anything to do with those two maps specifically, but either way, I think next week is going to be huge for Call of the Wild. And on that note, speaking of great ones and all that, we can really kind of just dive in here and hopefully make some progress on our current great one grind. If my memory serves me correctly, it was the last hunt where we actually deleted this zone, and I guess the whitetail have just come right back to it, which is a good thing. I mean, we kind of set up specifically for it, but I wouldn't have minded if they ended up moving off, because it's not the best place to try to, you know, get a couple of shots in quickly at deer that are in less than ideal cover. I'm really hoping he's not going to try to float over here. You know what? We have a tent right there, and that is, the next move is to fast travel over there. So maybe if I could click the fast travel option correctly, even if he is trying to float away, we can kind of save him from floating off. We got to go back there, so I guess probably not the worst place to potentially float away from, but I would still kind of prefer that he doesn't do that. Well, that's odd. These deer don't normally spook like that. There's a chance that there's a bobcat over in there. There are usually bobcat tracks, so that might have messed up that particular spot. But again, going back to the last time that we hunted whitetail here on Rancho, this particular lake up here in the far north was a bit of an issue, and there's a bunch of hunting pressure from the last little hunt that I did up here. So if we end up not shooting those deer, that's all fine, but yeah, we kind of see the thing that I was hoping to avoid. That whitetail is floating over to where we shot her from. But the good news is we got to go back there anyway, and maybe try to get a couple of those deer that fled from whether it was the bobcat or wherever they decided to run off. But quickly we can grab our one on this side, and I would say we may do the same thing that we did in the last hunt, where basically any buck that is not gold or better, we're not going to include the harvest portion in the video just for the sake of kind of keeping things moving. I do have to say though, this particular run, this lake doesn't seem to have the most whitetail at it. There's been a couple of kind of areas where there's a bunch of tracks, and obviously like some whitetail fled out of this particular like kind of patch of brush and trees. But the direction they flee in, it's not really like most areas in Call of the Wild. Generally, if you're spooking animals near water, they kind of follow the edge of the water all the way around, but these deer always kind of go off into that area, and you saw that one track back there, 85 to 100. We know it's not a great one, obviously, but it does have the potential of being a good-sized buck, and I'd never seen it. I always run around here and spook it and hope to see it, and never actually do. So I'm going to have to come up with a different solution for this spot. We could run over there and try to spot them, but the thing is, the moment we start to do that, that's kind of when our efficiency pretty much goes out the window, and we start to kind of waste time that we could be using in the other spots. So I guess that'll be a future kind of change. Ooh, there's a level 3. That's not even the deer I was trying to spot. There's a nice 2 down in there. I actually thought we were about to get trolled, but that buck is the one that we spotted. And that, you know, not only I think is that the same rack of the diamond that we killed on our grind before, it's the same spot. That is like the middle-sized rack. The one issue I see is that he's sort of in a position where we can't get a shot. I mean, there's a little bit of room where we could go for vitals, but I think we're going to have to kind of move forward on this. I literally just mentioned it the last time that we came out here on Rancho. This has been the only spot that has spawned level 3 whitetail. All of our other diamonds have been level 2s. We come back here again today, and we have yet another level 3. And honestly, a couple of nice 2s. That was the other thing. This spot had no max weight estimate bucks. Today, at least 3. I'm not sure that we've spotted everything. Also have an absolutely pathetic level 1 over there, but that big level 3 definitely makes up for that. It gets difficult because there's not a lot of good spots to go for a shot here. This is not too much beyond 150 meters. Once we start to move in more, he's just so much in the brush that I think this is going to be our best shot opportunity. So kind of what we saw there, when the front buck has his head down and the level 3 has his head up, that's kind of where we have a shot. So if the front one will go to drink here, dropped him, just kind of able to squeeze that shot past the tree, and I'm hoping maybe, looks like our level 1 is the only one to hang around, but that would be an opportunity for a third one, and because we're not in the tripod, just sort of to scoot up and get a better shot at the level 3, we don't want to shoot more than that anyway, so the other two 85 to 100s, those will have to be for like a future run. That worked out pretty good, able to drop the level 3, and I mean, go figure. This spot apparently continues to be our only spot to spawn 3s. And laying side by side the 2 bucks that were right there drinking, the one that was kind of in our way, which I think we can grab first. We're able to do that without accidentally picking up the, what I think should be diamond. Now, the last time that we killed a level 3 here, I said that it was a guaranteed diamond with this rack, but I don't think that's the case. Somehow this one will troll on occasion, but it's not the small rack for level 3 whitetail, so odds are pretty good. And he is a diamond at 268.9, which I want to say makes him bigger than, actually I'm certain it makes him bigger than our other one this rack. Our other one's in the 250 area, 258 or 259 I think. Now, oddly enough, the other day, when Kyla wasn't feeling well, I was hunting whitetail in real life, and she kind of stayed home, didn't want to be out in the cold, not feeling well, and she came out here. It was following the hunt that I did, where we didn't kill anything special. A diamond had respawned from that. She got that one, and I asked her, she wasn't exactly sure where it was. It may well have been here. And now we have another level 3 that has spawned, so clearly we're doing something right all of a sudden. We've had a couple of diamonds in a row, and I find it so interesting because we have shot, I'm going to say 7 or 8 diamonds now on this grind. The vast majority have been level 2 diamonds, but the fact that this area keeps spawning 3s, I mean, we had the 2 diamonds right here, and the first level 3 that we had at all on Rancho was at this stone, which now only spawns stows, but it was the troll, but at this same lake. It's just so odd that it's worked out that way. Well, we have a quick opportunity from the tripod at one of the 85 to 100 bucks. There were a bunch that ran through here. Fortunately, he was in the very back, and that's only going to help us in the long run. So now, there were at least 3 max weight estimate bucks at this particular zone. We got 2 out of the 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if the third one kind of ran through here first. Like I said, a bunch did, and I've never seen them go this way. I don't know if they'll continue to do that. I mean, we could get a ton of bucks if we just stayed in the tripod and let them run. But yeah, another 213 gold as we are moving along here. Just when I thought we were at the last zone of the day, something kind of new has happened here, so we're going to go ahead and smoke these 2 bucks. Hopefully we can get them both with no issues, because sometimes this zone, I don't know if it's the angle of the tripod or what, but I have a tendency to mess these shots up. But anyway, usually we wrap up our run of this lake here, but I looked across, and there are a couple of bucks that have spawned in this far zone, and it's the zone that I just mentioned, where we had our first level 3 that ultimately ended up being a troll. We haven't had bucks in that zone in, I couldn't even tell you how long. A really long time, since pretty much we actually started grinding. The level 3 troll that I'm referring to really wasn't even much into a grind, if at all into a grind. I think it kind of just was starting to learn the map, so for bucks to suddenly be over there again is interesting. I do have to say, this has kind of shades of the great one that we shot over on Layton. Things changed, zones moved around, and the next thing we knew, there was a great one running past us. So especially, I think, before next week, if things are kind of slated to kick off as it sounds like, we probably should do a full run through Rancho and make sure there's not something special just out here waiting on us. And I would say that maybe that is gonna be what we'll do on Monday's stream. So we'll go over here now. I don't have a tripod set up there anymore, so we'll have to maybe do that here soon. But cool to see stuff shifting around. That other lake in the far north was different, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe deer have just moved. Either way, it's got me optimistic. Now, the thing we need to be careful about, obviously, is not shooting too many deer here. The other thing we have to be careful about is if we intend to attempt to shoot 3, we want at least 3 rounds in the gun. So this is a max weight estimate buck. It might actually be a silver, but we definitely want to get him first. And then if things work out in our favor, we can just take 3 shots all back to back there. And that's all we want to do. I like that zone. It's one of the most huntable ones at Bosque Alto. And actually the nice thing is, you don't really need a tent. You can run down from here, or we have this tent, which isn't that far away. So if we just set up one more tripod, I think we could be good for there. So I'm really excited to check out the rest of the lakes. I mean, when stuff kind of moves around like that, it's a bigger chore, I would say. Rancho has just a ton of surface area for whitetail deer to spawn and drink at. I mean, we generally only grind this lake, this lake, this lake, and a little bit of this lake down here, but they can drink, I know, over in here, this big lake, there's a small one down here, and I think, yeah, up at this spot is a pretty common one that we haven't been to in a while. So in all likelihood, that's going to be what we do on Monday, just to try to round out our grind here. I'd love to be able to wrap it up before anything new happens, but who knows how all that is going to go. So there should be one more buck. I see him laying right there. And my kind of parting question to you guys is, what do you think is coming to Call of the Wild, apparently here in the very near future? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious what you guys make of all the information we have here, and I hope you guys are as excited as I am. I feel like we're kind of getting into that time of year where usually we see something new coming to Call of the Wild, and it sounds like it's going to be something big. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.